Police refuse to comment on missing Henry Boyd reward money. Tenant murdered during midnight eviction. Walleye cow buy to permanently relocate some residents. And when it's police versus the media, everyone loses. I am Noriko Bulford and welcome to tonight's edition of Uncut News. On Sunday morning, Police Commissioner Nigel Hoppy instructed the Force's public relations team not to respond after the media posed questions about the alleged disappearance of part of the $3 million Guyana reward for information concerning the killing of Joel and Isaiah Henry. After Travis Chase asked the question to the police media WhatsApp group, yes, we have a WhatsApp group, and no, you can't join if you're a civilian. Anyway, Hoppy accidentally sent the instruction to this group before quickly deleting it. However, Dennis Chabrol was able to screenshot the poorly written sentence before the top cop could delete it. Despite a boring hour-long meeting between senior media representatives and public relations officer Stan Gavaya and Mark Ramatar last week Tuesday, the relations between the media and the Force continue to be at an all-time low. Hours after receiving a verbal notice from his landlady to move out of her apartment by the 14th of July, 24-year-old GRA Customs officer Dwayne Tate was stabbed to death by the woman's son. According to the cops, around midnight, Tate was awakened by the landlord's son banging on the door and shouting that they needed to move out of the apartment now. When Tate went to meet the man at the door, he was immediately stabbed in the chest before collapsing a short distance away. He was taken to the hospital where he was declared dead on arrival. The landlady, Jacqueline Lamaison, and her stupidly unnamed son were taken into police custody. CGX Energy announced this morning that it has been engaged in civil works related to the construction of its US $130 million per-piece deep water port. Currently, work is ongoing on the access road and connecting bridge, relocation of utilities and major construction of the site along the Burpees River. The construction of the wharf platform and access trestle is scheduled to begin in September. On Saturday, the Guyana Public Service Union released a letter showing that they have requested an urgent meeting with the government regarding overdue negotiations on wages, salaries, and allowances for the years 2020 and 2021. They seek a meeting with the Public Service Ministry this week as they believe that the government is continuing to ignore its obligations under the existing labor agreement with the union, which is even more especially messed up considering the fact that we are currently in the middle of the pandemic. Are you one of the chosen few that benefit from duty-free? Good for you! Check out these amazing vehicles that just arrived at Best Buy Auto Sales. This is 2016 Toyota Harrier Grand Sport Edition, this 2014 Range Rover Evoque, and this 2016 Lexus RX 200T are all on sale. They are all fully loaded and come with all modern features. Call or WhatsApp 662-0844 for more info, or visit their showrooms at Lot 171 Peter Road Street, Queenstown, or Lot 2 Lamont Street, and tell them Mariko sent you for this sweet deal. Despite having not even completed the public consultations, the government is currently looking for investors for all aspects of its controversial $900 million gas-to-shore project. According to the Natural Resources Ministry, the government approved what it called the Wales Development Zone as the termination point for the pipeline after extensive evaluation of multiple sites with Exxon. A search was made yesterday for 35-year-old Valone Thorne after he jumped from the Demerara Bridge. According to the police, an eyewitness saw Thorne park his motorcycle on the bridge before taking the plunge into the river. He has not been found since. Nevertheless, the cops are still searching for him, as well as the reason why he jumped. I won't assume anything until the investigation is complete. All I can say is that life is difficult, and if you're hurting, please get some help. Over the weekend, a child reportedly playing with a lighter in an apartment accidentally caused a fire that left his and 5 other families homeless. The fire occurred sometime after 3 p.m. in Rossville in Rocks and Burnham Gardens in Georgetown. The fire service's investigations revealed that a child was left unattended in one of the apartments and set the house ablaze. No one else was at the home at the time. However, what is unknown is just how bad that child was spanked. Hopefully not too hard. Yikes. It's now time for today's Runner Report. Today, the nation recorded 49 new cases. there are now 497 persons dead, 11 persons in the ICU, and 1,318 persons in home isolation. And the total number of confirmed cases around the nation now stands at 21,002. So, please people, wash your hands frequently. Avoid touching your nose and mouth and mask up before you leave the house. When you do leave home, try to avoid enclosed spaces and large crowds. And remember to give 6 feet of space between you and others. A quick cent is better than a slow dollar. Sell Digicel Top Up and watch your money grow. This is one of the simplest investments you can make to let your money earn you money. Call 685-3109 and get started today. After weeks of delayed shipments and global shortages, we have finally received another shipment of the second doses of the Sputnik vaccine and will commence distribution tomorrow. The ministry did not state how many doses of this Russian vaccine were received, but they did state that another batch of the second doses is expected to arrive next week also. Priority will be given to those individuals who received their first dose in April. The village council in Murakobai in Region 5 is putting plans in place to permanently relocate residents who were severely affected to higher ground. Despite being located on a plateau, the entire community was affected by severe flooding caused by heavy rains and the overtopping of the Mekong River. Approximately 1,200 to 1,500 residents have been affected by the flooding, with 200 households feeling the full brunt of the disaster. And now for our stupid news of the day. A few years ago, when I asked a certain crooked-eyed former Minister of Public Security why he can't just go and fire all the corrupt cops in the force since it's so obvious who are the ones who are corrupt, he turned to me and said, "Noriko, if we did that, there would be no police force left." At the time I laughed, but over the weekend, Hopi just proved the man correct. The orders to silence information to the public comes from the top, and it reeks of arrogance. However, arrogance and obscurity breeds corruption in any state or private entity. Think of the government like an egg ball. Now, I know it sounds silly, but follow me here. Like an egg ball left in the bottom of your haversack for 3 weeks, when a state entity is allowed to operate in the dark, it will fester into a disgusting corrupted version of itself that has to be replaced. Period. No amount of sour or pepper can undo what was done to it. It will never serve the purpose of feeding you, cause if you ate it, you'd get ghastly ill, you'd probably even die. You gotta throw it all out and eat something else. Anyway, you get the metaphor, so enough of that. The police commissioner is known to have literally run away from the media and exited the building. Like, seriously, we really saw him cut and run. It was really weird seeing a grown man do that. Worse yet, news releases, especially about major occurrences, are provided very late or until well into the next day. But if you say anything bad about the police in any way, shape, or form, even if it's true, you get accused of being a liar who's only interested in besmirching the good name of the police force, and they will send it within hours of you publishing it. So don't even be surprised if we get a response. Anyway, all I'm trying to say is that this contempt the police have for the media is not only counterproductive, but it's harmful to society as a whole. But overall, it is pretty stupid. Have a business and need access to more goondu balls? Register it on one of the fastest growing business directories in Guyana. Sign up for free on snap.gy and get your business listed today. And yes, you've heard me right, it's absolutely free. Get listed today on snap.gy. Moving on to our Uncut News Viewers Poll question of the day. Every day we pose a question about current events in the nation, the region, the diaspora, and how you feel it relates to us. So, you give your responses in the comment, and we'll read the best ones in the following episode. Friday's question was about the oil money. Should it go to the people? Chavez Wallace said, "I think all families should get a percentage of the oil money. Spending everything on big construction projects is doing nothing to address poverty. Let's face it, yes, they are creating jobs for the economy, but the workers are getting so little they have to find multiple jobs to make ends meet, and it takes a toll on the body, and the price increases for groceries and other things are just making it worse. I think giving each family $1 million would have a landslide effect on crime rate reduction in the nation. So, some people wouldn't have to rob a funeral home just to pay JPL, or the police harassing citizens for lunch money." Solid point, Chavez, solid point. NG the Atheist disagrees though. He says that handouts might only end up in the crack yard or the rum shop. First, I would recommend free education with government-paid scholarships at all levels of local and international universities, upgrading schools with free cafeterias and better science and sports facilities, free uniforms, and transportation. A parent must have a greater burden to keep their child at home than to send him or her to school. Next, I would go with a massive infrastructure development along the coast that will transform the infrastructure from regions 3 to 6 into that of modern cities. To me, this is what the Guyanese people need, a future as an educated nation with proper infrastructure, and these investments will create tens of thousands of jobs which will help to reduce our present-day poverty level. Well, those are some valid points. I take it. Chief T says, Guyanese should get benefits, not cash. I say give vouchers that can only be used for food and bills, and make it so that only the person that it's intended for can use it. I see firsthand what Guyanese do when they get a cash grant. Pure sporting going on. Unfortunately, you do have a point there, but hey, benefits, just like I said. And finally, Sharon Davis said, Guyanese deserve a cut of the oil money. Rico, when you mentioned it, I said, wow, if only this cartoon can run for president, Guyana would be a better place. I'm honored, Sharon, but unfortunately, you know they'd give me the Thomas Sankara treatment, so I have to pass, sorry. So for tonight's question, one indigenous village is already making the decision to move to higher ground. Is it time for other communities to do the same? If so, how can people be encouraged to move? Think about that question and tell us in the comments below. If your response is good enough, we just might feature it in our next episode. Anyway, that's all the time we have for tonight. Check us out on Tuesday for another. Until then, I'm Rico Bulford saying good night, folks. Hey, Uncut News viewers, thanks for watching. You can subscribe by clicking on this button over here, or click over there for more news. You can also drop a comment to let me know if you've made it to the end of the video. Goodbye for now.